Directed questions for Manager Peter Vermes.
Yep. On the radio broadcast, Peter, they were talking about that Tim's save on the PK could be a potential game changer. Do you feel like that the guys took advantage and were able to build on any kind of momentum, or just?
No. I think Tim, I think it's a PK, 100%. Tim tries to come out and make a play on it. Causes the penalty, but then he pulls the team out. And at that point, you hit it on the head. At that moment, you would all of a sudden say, okay, little wake-up call, let's go. Then they get the player thrown out, and we should have, we lacked urgency in the game tonight. Look, you got to credit Columbus. They, sometimes when you're down a man, you get galvanized and you defend really well on a block. Look, we've done it before here at home, Dallas last year in the Open Cup. I mean, sometimes it happens, you can do it, but at the same time, the lack of urgency on our part was, a disappointment from my perspective.
So, I mean, overall, it feels like points dropped for you guys tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Even if they would have scored that goal, my opinion is you gotta find a way to get back into the game, and you still have a lot of time to win. So, for sure, points drop, no doubt about it.
Did you see anything on the play that happened where Seth had to come out of the game?
Not really. I really haven't seen it. I only saw a little bit during the live version of the game, but I want to see it. I want to see the replay. I haven't really seen that.
Did you get an explanation at all for why that play didn't go to VAR?
None. No, not at all. I'm assuming everybody's asking me because it must have been pretty poor.
You've gotten kind of a good sample size of games so far. Do you feel like people are getting sufficient explanations for when VAR is and is not used?
During the game or after?
Either.
No. I just wanted to make that point.
Right.
Right. For helping me.
You mentioned lack of urgency. Any reason why you could attribute that, or why? I guess in the final third, why was the?
I honestly don't have it. I wish I had an answer for you. I don't have an answer right now. But the one thing for me is that we have an obligation. I think every time we step inside the white lines to play a certain way. But at times, what's going to happen is that you're going to be off. Maybe you miss a pass, maybe you miss a shot, you miss settle the ball, whatever. Sometimes you don't have your A game that day. The one thing that you always need to bring is your effort. And we have an obligation to leave everything we have physically on the field. And I don't think that we did that today. And that's not something that I take very lightly here. And I can't tell you exactly what the reason is for it, but I can tell you that the players will feel it over the next week for sure. Because I don't, again, disappointing to me. If we had the urgency and we were pushing the game and we were flying and doing all that stuff, heat's no excuse to me. Where the field is, none of that stuff's an excuse to me. Every team's got to play in that environment. Everybody knows that. We got more than enough veteran guys on my team that have been through it before. So I'll tell you this, though, if it's the heat, we'll find out what heat really is.
How much does the game plan change when you go up a man, the defense condenses, and for the last half of the game you're basically playing that way? So how much does it change as far as going forward, and how much frustration is there because of that kind of defense?
Yeah, I mean, there are times when we play against 10 guys, or 11 if you count the keeper, play against 11, and teams do that as well. But again, you got to figure out a way. I mean, we work on this stuff quite often in training, and I'd like to think that we spend a lot of time on it. But it doesn't matter how good the game plan is. It doesn't matter how much you've worked on it. What always matters is what you go out and you execute. And so in this game today, it doesn't matter if we had an incredible solution for the fact that they were, bunkered back. They had to do what they had to do to try to get a point. which I respect, I understand. But at the same time, we had an obligation as well, and an objective, and that was to go score. And if you want to, you're gonna do everything. You're gonna die running into the box when the ball's out wide. You're not gonna have one, you're gonna have 5 guys running here. Ball pops out, you're gonna be first to it. You have an extra man. We didn't do that. And so, you know, again, you can do that against 11v11. That could be the same thing. Is it hard? Yeah, sure it is. I mean, Barcelona has a hard time with it. A lot of teams in the world have a hard time with that. But I say again, you got to show urgency. You got to have different in your game.
Any questions?
That's it. Easy. Thanks.